and welcome to the Mobile Midwife EHR Getting Started video. Thank you for joining in to get a brief overview of how to use Mobile Midwife as a new user. This is just a brief overview. If you want deeper dives into our different features, please visit our website under the Features tab and click on How To. Under the How To section, we have videos that cover our invoicing features, messages features, and many other areas to help you deep dive into those features that are not necessarily intuitive just by using Mobile Midwife. So first, once you sign up with Mobile Midwife, you will download the app, and we are currently on the iPhone, any iPad, or the Mac. And on the Mac, you would go to the Mac App Store naturally, and of course on the iPhone and iPad, you just go to the App Store. Once you download the app and you launch it, you will be brought to the basic login screen here. And in this login screen, you'll enter in the practice name, email, and password that you entered into our website when you signed up. If you'd like to see the demo app that we're going to show today, you can press on the Take a Tour button in the upper right corner. So that's what I'm going to click on right now to do this overview. Now, the first thing that we're going to be brought to after we click on Take a Tour is the client list. This client list shows you a list of all your clients, and it's grouped by the month of their due date. By default, we are under the pregnant client list, so these are all pregnant clients that have not delivered yet. The other sub-tabs on the left include postpartum, which will show your postpartum clients, lactation. That's any lactation clients you may have. This does not apply to most practices, but practices that may have a separate lactation consultant in the practice. This does not apply to if you have a lactation consultant that is seeing your midwifery clients postpartum, because those will just be lactation visits under those midwifery clients. The lactation tab would be for lactation only clients that did not go through your prenatal or postpartum care, but only came to you for lactation consultant services, even though they delivered with a different provider. Then there's also a primary care tab on the left here that is where your clients who are not pregnant will go if you provide well woman care or even as a family practice. Mobile Midwife can be configured under settings to support male clients. You can see clients of all ages, and it works just like any other full-blown electronic health record system with physical exams, review of systems, and everything that you would need, or even the insurance would need to see in a fully capable health record system. Below the primary care tab on the left is the inactive clients tab, which is where all your clients will eventually go. If you manually inactivate a client, they get sent here. Or once a client goes past 15 weeks postpartum, they get automatically moved here, unless you change that in settings. Lastly, we have a messages and chat tab, which is where you can see all the messages, which is our email-based messaging feature, or all the chat messages, which is our text-based or direct message-based feature for communicating with your clients. We have separate videos on those features, so please look those up under our how-to section to understand how to use those better. So going back to the pregnant client list, we can see all these different icons that are on each client. In actuality, there's usually going to be a lot more of these icons on your clients as you begin to become fluent with Mobile Midwife and its different tasks features, reminders features, and just different mechanisms we have to keep track of your clients and their current status, and help you audit and keep track of the records and keep anything from falling through the cracks, such as documents that aren't signed, balances that aren't paid, and as in this case, you can see their RH status, whether it's RH positive or RH negative in the upper right hand corner. The BC that's in the upper left corner of some of these charts indicates that they are a birth center birth, whereas it'll be a picture of a house if they're a home birth, and there will be water in the picture if they've indicated that they would like a water birth. The INS is insurance. There's a different icon if they're cash pay. But then there's a whole nother set of icons for reminders and letter codes and different situations that we will get into on other tutorials. In the client list, you can search by client name, any part of their name, any letters. When you type that in, it will filter the list by whatever you type in, whether it's first or last name. You can also type in a record number. You can sort the clients by different sorting options depending on the tab. Particularly under the inactive tab, you can sort by their weeks postpartum or by name and other options. We also have an advanced search, which allows you to search for clients based off of any textual information that's in anything from prenatals to health history. You could type in GBS, or you could put in diabetes mellitus or whatever it may be, and it will pull up any records that have those phrases anywhere in the client chart. So very powerful search features. Along the top of every screen, you're going to see the same various icons, including this question icon, which if you tap on it, it'll show you context-sensitive help for each screen, which will remind you on maybe how to use that screen, whether it's the Messages tab or the Documents tab, and billing and how to create a billing invoice or whatever it may be. Help is always there at the top by pressing question. The calendar icon is on a lot of screens. It shows you all your upcoming appointments. If you're under a client record, it allows you to add appointments. And we have another video on the calendar features and scheduling features in Mobile Midwife. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you begin with Mobile Midwife is typically to create a client record. However, typically to create a client record, you will forward the client invitation email to new clients, and they will visit the client portal and they'll create their own record. And after they create their own record, you get an email that indicates that your client has created their record so that you know you can log into the Mobile Midwife app and view their information. However, you can also just press Add Client here at the top of the client list, and you can choose to add either just a normal pregnant or primary care client, or a lactation client, or a doula client. The lactation and doula feature can be turned off in settings. We recommend turning that off if you're not going to use it, just to free up some clutter on the screen and to keep errors from occurring by possibly creating the wrong type of client. And that can create a lot of heartache if either a client or yourself enters all the information for a lactation client, and that doesn't translate over nicely to a non-lactation client because it's a whole set of different health history questions, and so you don't want to waste time. So we will review the settings tab, the settings section at the end of this video, and show you how to do that. In this case, I'm just going to choose Add Client. I'm going to decline the picture. And the initial tab that it's going to set you on is the Basic tab, which captures the client's basic demographic information, their address, contact information, and so on. The basic layout of Mobile Midwife is always the same with your different sections at the bottom. In this case, we have Client Info, Visits, Tasks and Billing, and Documents. So currently we are under the Client Info section, which is why it's highlighted. And then on the left side are your subtabs. And these subtabs will change for every section you're under. In this case, we have Basic, Pregnancy, Past Pregnancy, Health, Summary, and Chat. When your client logs into your client portal, they will see this same basic screen, although it varies slightly based on the device that they're on. And we have another video on the client portal that will show you what to expect, what your client can expect to see in the client portals, which is very valuable to watch because it gives you an idea from their perspective of what they see, so you can potentially help them if they have questions. However, they all basically work the same and they show everything that you see here under the client info section. And they show the document section so that they can sign your documents and consent forms, financial agreements, or whatever you may have. But they do not see the visit section or the tasks and billing section. Those are what we call provider side areas. If you want to send a copy of the prenatal visits or labor flow to the client, that's something you can export and send as a message to them. But they do not have access to see that through the client portal. So in the client portal here, the client will begin to enter in their name, contact information, and the financial information section, it can be easily hidden under the settings, which we will review at the end of this video. If you do not take insurance, it's probably a good idea to hide this section. However, it does have the ability to capture credit card information if they are self-pay. So you may not want to hide this section even if you don't take insurance. That's up to you. But this financial information section allows them to enter in the insurance company name and their member ID and take pictures of their insurance card from their Android or iPhone, whatever they're using to access the client portal. And that makes handling insurance a lot easier because our insurance feature ties into this information, so you can easily generate insurance claims. As they go through the screens, they can press Next Step to go to the next tab, or they can just manually press on the sub-tabs on the left-hand side. Probably the most key question that they'll answer is, are you pregnant? If they answer yes, the client record changes dynamically to capture information about their pregnancy. Mobile Midwife is unique in that it's an app. It's an app on all of our devices, whether it's iPhone, iPad, or Mac. And what that means is, since it's not a website, it doesn't have to do a round trip to the server every time you click a button. It also works if your internet drops out or if your Wi-Fi is just simply slow. The Mobile Midwife app will work just as fast at lightning speed. Every time you press a button, there's no delay, and you can have 100% confidence you're going to have that information with you even during a transfer, or if you're at a home birth, or even if you're at a birthing center and the Wi-Fi doesn't work particularly well in a birth room somewhere, or whatever the case may be. If there's a brownout, you have full confidence you're going to have access to their allergy information and their health risks, and still continue to be able to chart. When Wi-Fi is connected again, it will automatically sync every few minutes, any changes you make with all the other devices in your practice. Chances are you already knew that by the time you got to this video, but just wanted to remind you of that, which is why we are able to make Mobile Midwife so dynamic. As you press different buttons, or as the client presses different buttons throughout the client portal, the app is very dynamic to then present a different set of questions so that we can get a lot of information without having a whole lot of clutter. Once the client completes going through all the 4 major tabs, the basic pregnancy, past pregnancy, and health tabs, they will come to the summary screen. And I'm going to drop out of that client record just because there's not much information in there. And I'm going to go to the summary screen of this other test patient that has a lot of test data, so you can get an idea of what you're going to see, or the client's going to see, on the summary tab when they get here. You'll notice on the summary tab at the top, it asks the client to review the information and sign at the bottom. At the bottom, when they sign it, it'll take a snapshot of everything they entered at that time, so that you can easily get a snapshot of what you based your clinical decisions on. In the event that there's an issue and you want to see, well, why did I do that, or why did I think that, why did I make that decision? You could always go back and verify what was really entered at the time they created the chart. We also have the most robust history feature of any EHR in the marketplace. If you press on the history button that's located at the top of the screen, you can see a full history of every field, what its initial value was, if it was changed, what its before and after values were, when it was changed, on what device, by who, at what time, and everything you can imagine. So it's very robust. We also have an activity log you can access, which shows every button that was pressed, every tab that was clicked, every field that was changed, by who and when and what device. So we maintain that full history indefinitely, so you can access that. Even we have providers that access that information on clients that are 8 years old and can see all that information. So that can be real handy. Again, so your clients are only going to see what's under the client info and documents sections. Everything in between your clients are not going to see, because that's provider side. And since this client is set to pregnant, a bunch of other sections appeared, including prenatals, labor and delivery, and postpartum. There's still a visit section here, which is for well woman care, and that will not be visible if you turn off the primary care feature, which again, we recommend that you do hide that if you don't use it, just to keep clutter from occurring, and also to keep errors from happening, like a provider mistakenly entering a visit under the wrong section. That can be confusing when you go to look for it again and it's not there, and then you call us and then we see it's under the visit section, and then you remember, oh, and then you disable it. But of course, if you see clients that you do contraceptive advice or well woman care, or if you see male and female clients, then of course leave that enabled. So the client, I'm going to go back to the summary screen. After they sign this and they press next step, it's going to take them to the documents section, where they'll be directed to sign any of your unsigned documents. These documents are just here as an example. They are not intended to be used. They give you an example of what you can do in Mobile Midwife for document templates. However, we have another video on the templates feature, so you can know how to create templates out of your own documents. Typically, you'll start from a Word document or some other word processor like Google Docs and save it as a PDF. You'll import it into Mobile Midwife and drop check boxes and text boxes and signature boxes where applicable. And then you can set it up to be automatically added to new clients. I'm going to open one of these just to give you an idea of what they look like. So you or your client can come in here and type information. They can put in their initials. Once they sign it, it's going to lock all the fields that are above that signature box so that they can't be changed. In order to maintain the integrity of our document system, that's a basic piece of how it works, so that you'll always be able to know, and in the court of law, you'll be able to claim that there's no way that a document got changed once it was signed, and we have affidavits for that. So then after your client finishes signing documents, if this was the client portal, they would click a button indicating they're finished, and it submits everything, and then you get emailed. Now, the first thing you're probably going to do after a client fills out their information is you're going to review it, and you're going to add a prenatal visit. To add a prenatal visit, you would go to the prenatal section here at the bottom and press the plus sign in the upper right corner and press Add Prenatal. Our prenatals offer the SOAP charting mechanism. If you choose Use SOAP here, then the whole form changes to be a whole lot more verbose, but also laid out using the subjective objective assessment plan model. In the subjective model, subjective section, you're just capturing information verbally from the patient, including a review of systems if you like. You can just type anything in any of the comments fields, or you can use our note templates. You can create your own note templates under the settings section. Any underscored areas you can tab through and fill and just type in any information. The objective section, you'll enter in the basic vitals, and you can perform and enter physical exam information. We offer different types of physical exams. And under assessment, you can put a diagnosis code. You can put a procedure code under plan, and these codes can be copied to insurance claims or invoices as needed. We have a reminders feature here under completed reminders, where if you tap on the reminders icon at the top and you begin to check off different items, and these are configurable under the settings section. They will appear under the reminders section here, and you can make various notes. And once you're done with the visit, you just press save, and then it gets added to the flowchart. You can view all the details in a flowchart by pressing show details. And that compresses it all to a very concise format that only shows the information that was populated. You can sign off on all the charts, which locks them down and color codes them in green, so you can know that you've audited this and that they've been locked and haven't been changed. It's read only at this point, which is why I can't click in any of the fields. Along the left-hand side, you'll see additional tabs, labs. You can configure Quest or LabCorp or one of any of the major lab companies in the US to integrate with Mobile Midwife and to feed your results, and they will automatically get matched to your clients based on date of birth and their name and information. Or you can manually enter in a lab. You can enter in the data and take a snapshot or attach a PDF of the lab. The problem section it consolidates all the problems they have entered in through the client intake into one area. So whether they entered in problems under the pregnancy tab or under the health tab, it consolidates them all here, and also displays them up in the client core information section here at the top, the active problems. And here you can update the problems if they're resolved or if there's new ones. You can edit any of these. And that goes the same for medications and allergies here on the left side. Again, those are pulled from the client intake, but you can edit them, add more to them as time goes on. If you transfer the client out of care, you would just populate the data transfer here, and then their profile picture will get marked as exfer or transfer. You can send the client a message through our message feature here, which will send them an email. And if they reply to that email, it'll come back into their chart. It'll also get copied to your email, and you can reply back and forth by email, and all the messages get recorded under their chart. Or you can reply directly from their chart. You can create a message that doesn't even go to the patient, but instead maybe goes to someone else in your practice or even the office manager, and ask your office manager to order a lab for the client, and they can reply back. And so it doesn't have to, this isn't strictly provider to patient messaging. This can be to even individuals outside of the practice. Like maybe you want to consult with your consulting OB regarding the patient, and maybe you want to attach a copy of the chart, and you can have a conversation with a group of people that aren't the client. And each of the messages that go to the various email inboxes will include the recipient list at the bottom, so you can always be sure that the information is going to the correct people. But we have a separate video on the message feature. It's very robust, and there's a lot to it. But the basics of it are easy to grasp and I think intuitive inside the app. And labor and delivery, just like it sounds, you record labor and delivery, IPP, and hospital transfers, and there's a summary screen summarizes the whole birth for you. Postpartum is where you'll document postpartum visits. And all these sub-tabs are the same tabs that are under labor and delivery and prenatals. It's the same information, just easy to access here. So if you need to modify problems, meds, or allergies, you can easily access that here. Additionally, we have a weights tab, which is any weights that are entered for baby, whether under labor and delivery or in a postpartum visit, they get copied into a flowchart here along with their WHO percentiles. Tasks and billing is where you'll create tasks. You can assign them to anybody in the practice. You can create billing invoices, which are professional looking invoices where you can create charges and apply different payments to different charges and generate invoices with your letterhead and send them to the client. Insurance claims, you can create insurance claims and either print them out, or you can sign up for our electronic insurance feature, which is the only feature in Mobile Midwife that you can pay extra for. It's $39 a month even. There's no taxes or any other fees, and that gives you unlimited electronic insurance claim submissions through Mobile Midwife. And we use Availity as our clearinghouse, although that's transparent to you. You won't see anything about that. All the insurance acceptance and rejections come back in through the app. But very handy feature and a very powerful tool. And now that we've reviewed the basic features about the client, I'm going to drop back down to the home and where we see the client list. Settings is where I promised to finish up. So first we're going to go to reports. Under reports, you can view your activity log, as I mentioned earlier, and see detailed activity of everything that has happened in your practice, who's logged in, who's changed what from what device, before and after values, and all that good stuff. Reports sub-tab will allow you to create reports based on clients or all the visits, billing history, and statistics. A lot of options there. And once you generate a report, you can export it to Excel or email it as a spreadsheet to yourself. You can view all the labs that have come in you may have labs coming from Quest or LabCorp, and you just want to see all of them for all clients. This is a good place to see that. The Synchronize tab, you do not need to use this tab. However, it's there if you want to just make sure that things are syncing. It'll tell you the last time that your practice is synced with the cloud. You can force a sync if you like, although it syncs every 5 minutes when there's Wi-Fi. The documents section, this is where you will create document templates, which we have another video on. You can press question at the top in order to refresh your memory on how to create a document template. Practice documents is where you would typically put maybe your different licensure information, CPR certifications. You might put your practice policies and just different documents that you want to store for your practice. The tasks and billing tab allows you to see all the tasks for all clients, who they're assigned to, and which ones are past due. You can see all the invoices for all your clients, what the balances are, who may be past due. You can see all your insurance claims, whether they're paper or electronic, they'll show up here so you can make sure nothing falls through the cracks. The ERA feature, if you sign up for electronic insurance claims, you can also configure the ERAs, which is the electronic version of the EOBs you may be used to. They can flow directly into Mobile Midwife and they'll get automatically matched or reconciled to the claims and can help you keep track of all the payments and what's been paid and what's not been paid. There's a practice level notes feature, so you can just make notes about any arbitrary thing. Bill codes, here you can edit your favorite bill code list. We have all the bill codes, the diagnosis codes and procedure codes loaded into Mobile Midwife, but there's a lot of them, and so you can create a favorites list. We built a favorite list for you already so that all the most common codes are in here, but you can edit them, remove the ones you don't think you're going to use, add your own, or whatever. And lastly, there's different tabs in here for configuring insurance and your different MPIs. So now we are to settings. You'll want to come here initially and add new users. You can add as many users as you want with all our plans. We do not base our plan pricing on users because that's dangerous. It leads to people trying to use one account for multiple people. But what's important to recognize in this digital age is that your electronic login is your legal signature. You do not need to physically sign something in the digital age to be responsible for it. But if your login is what makes you responsible for it. So do not share logins. Create as many as you need, and there's no reason not to, because we don't base pricing on that. Our pricing is strictly based on active clients. So you can press add new user in the upper right corner to add a user. You can choose their role, what permissions they have. You can make it so that they're a user that can only see clients that you explicitly give them access to. So that's a very robust feature that some practices like to take advantage of for new students, or if you have a birthing center and you've got some midwives that have privileges, but part of your agreement is that they create a record in Mobile Midwife for their patient so that you can track that, since you're partially responsible for that outcome. Well, that's subjective, but you might be responsible. Under this screen, if this is on your iPad or iPhone, you'll be able to press Set Touch ID, and you'll be able to associate your face or fingerprint ID with your login, so that you don't have to enter in your password ever again. Next is the prenatal reminders. We mentioned this briefly earlier, how you can check these items off inside of a visit record, and it gets associated so that you know during that visit you performed these various items. You can make these required now, even by a certain week's gestation. So in this case, I made this document packet given reminder required. And if I go back to the client list, now on every profile picture where they're at least 20 weeks pregnant, it's going to show DO, which is the first two letters of that reminder, document packet given, so DO document. But it won't be for clients that are, so this client is 16 weeks. See, all of these are only 16 weeks, and so they don't have it. In fact, they have a green check. That means that any required reminders have been completed. That way you know if anything is outstanding. If there's nothing outstanding, you'll see a green check, which can be very handy. And you can edit and remove any of these by pressing edit and deleting them or moving them around or changing the text. But that's prenatal reminders. That's going to show up under any pregnant or postpartum clients. If it's a primary client, they'll have their own list. Same with lactation clients. And text templates, we briefly mentioned that, how you can type ZZZ into any text field and then choose a text template and then tab through the underscored items and fill those out. So you can edit those here, create your own ones. These are here just as an example of what you can do. We've got message settings, which allows you to configure how the message feature works. We have message templates, which allows you to create templates of messages that you can easily select when creating a new message. By default, we have a client access invitation. If you want to invite a client not to create a new record, but to access an existing record, this document template does that for you. So when you compose a new message, you can choose from your different templates, and it'll save you a lot of typing. However, you may create a template that is informational. Like, let's say at 20 weeks pregnant, you want to send them their first trimester packet of information, just like different handouts, different things you want them to read. And so in that case, you could say first trimester packet, and then put in a subject and a body, and then under here you would choose to automatically send it on or after 20 weeks. And you can include attachments. You can pull attachments from either the documents tab or practice documents, and so they can get that as well. Last but not least is the account tab. This we saved for the last, but it's really the most important. As soon as you sign up, you want to come to this tab and configure your practice to meet your needs. The email client access URL button is also here. However, when you signed up, you would have gotten the email client access invitation email sent to you, and you can just forward that email to new clients as you get them. We do not recommend creating the client record first. We recommend sending them the client access invitation to create their own record. If you were to create the client record first and then send them access to it using the message feature, then they have to enter a password, and that can be that opens up to a lot of error, a lot of mistyping, and frustrated clients. But sometimes that's unavoidable. If the client didn't get a chance to fill out their health history and they come to their first prenatal visit, then you might want to just send them access to that existing client record. But typically you can come here or forward the email you already got, press email client access URL here. You can email to yourself and customize it as you like and save it off to a folder in your email, or you can just email it directly to the client from here. This is just a simulator, so unfortunately I can't show that, but it would just launch a new email. Now, most importantly here is the question configuration section. This is where you can turn off different features, like you can hide the financial information section. You can turn off the lactation feature, which is right here. Hide lactation client feature, hide doula client feature, hide primary care feature. Just a lot of different options here for configuring your practice. And then if you need to update your billing information for Mobile Midwife, you can do that here. All right, I've already taken too much of your time for one video, but I hope this gave you a good overview. To view our other videos, go to our website at mobilemidwifeehr.com, click on features and then how to, and you can take a deep dive in how to create document templates, which would be the next video I recommend watching. As always, feel free to give us a call or email us at midwifesupport@mobilemidwifeehr.com.